How you doing, everybody? Comedians Talking Comedy. I'm Cliff Yates, and today, a good friend of mine, headlining comedian, and a brother-in-law, and by that I mean he was a former New York City transit cop. He's had a couple shows, actually, where he was the star of the shows. He's still headlining it today. We're in one of his shops. He makes custom furniture for the rich and famous, and for you, too. And we'll find out where you can get your own furniture made by Mr. John Diresta. John, thanks for joining me today.
Anytime, dude.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? This is a very unique set.
Yes, it is. We're in the natural.
Well, I rent, I think you know, I rent about 2 shops. Up there is more of a traditional wood shop, and we just wanted to stay. We're in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
So we wanted to stay away from the police cars and the fire trucks, and the further back we go in this space, the quieter it gets.
Yeah.
And there's some nice lighting right here.
I mean, and the quiet is...
It is kind of quiet. And again, if you listen in the distance, there's a fire somewhere. Listen.
Something's burning. And what are we going to do?
There you go. North Hollywood, always.
How'd you get your start in comedy? Was it after the police job or during?
That's a very good question. I knew I always wanted to be a comedian my whole life, even from when I was a little kid. And there was 2 things working against me. Number 1 was stage fright. And number 2, I didn't know where to start. I legitimately, I don't know if you ever heard this before, used to look in the New York, I'm from Long Island, I'm not retarded, and I would look in the New York Newsday under the want ads and look for the word comedian. Like I thought that, you know, just like being a plumber or a carpenter, you would just someone was looking for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I didn't
John's wanted comedian.
I didn't know where to start. I didn't know you can go to a comedy club and do an open mic. I didn't know you could go to a comedy class. I just didn't know it, and I was a comedy buff. Looking back, I had all the local comedy clubs I used to go to in Long Island. I used to go see Dice. I used to go see Sam Kinison, all before they were famous. And at the age of 27, I was a New York City transit cop. You know, we work in the subway of New York.
Yeah.
Our motto is you ride, we hide. And I was in a special unit, the homeless outreach unit, where we went down in the tunnels and took bums or clients to the shelter. And I was 27 years old. I was married. I had a 1-year-old. I had a 2-year-old, a boy and a girl, so we were done. And but I just wasn't happy. Deep down inside, I knew I wanted something different with my life. And one night on the homeless outreach bus, I was making a bunch of our clients laugh. You know, they're all bums, toothless. You know, we all. I see them every night, so I had funny themes.
Yeah.
You know, we did fake AA meetings, you know, thanks for coming, and, you know, raise your hand if you need a dentist. So night after night, I developed, believe it or not, a routine with an audience of common people every night, homeless people. And one night, my partner, Mike Venkus, was reading a Village Voice, and he said, dude, this is it right here. This is what you should be doing. You could take a class to be a comedian. And it was like that heaven moment, the gods, you know, the music. And I went, okay, so now I don't have an excuse anymore. Yeah. You know, the stage fright, well, they're going to teach you how to get over it. I drove home 50 miles. We lived upstate New York in Harriman. I woke my wife up. She had an infant in this arm and an infant in this arm, both crying. And I said, Fran, I want to be a stand-up comedian. I want to take a comedy class. It may take 10 years for me to make a dime. I had no idea how long it took to develop a set, to get paid.
Yeah. And
And I'm not quitting the job. You know, it pays well, obviously. I said I want to do the comedy class and the circuit and be a cop at the same time. And there was a long pause, and she said, I want another baby. And she was holding one in each arm.
Oh, my God.
And I said, you know what? You got a deal.
Yeah.
We got a deal. I mean, I want to be a comedian. You know, what does it take? I got to, you know.
One baby, that's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. And I enrolled in a stand-up comedy class in New York in 1992. I was 27 years old. And my wife got pregnant. And I graduated my comedy class. And you know how you get money if you bring customers?
Right, yeah. A bringer show.
It's a bringer. So with the graduating night, I brought my brother and my sister, and I got $2 kickback. So the first official set I ever did, I got paid $4, and that was set number 1.
Set 1.
And last night I did set 5,515. at the Ha Ha Cafe here.
Wow. And I know you know that because you started back then. You write down every set.
I started just because here's the deal. I had a lot of free time on the homeless outreach bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Between
Yeah.
picking up clients and napping.
Yeah.
I just started to write down. It was a very weird, I just wrote down set number 1. I could show it to you.
Wow.
I said, graduating class, made $4, had a great set till I did I did a stock joke on the closing bit. And people kind of jumped out. And when I came off stage, my comedy coach yelled at me, Lee Frank. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You were doing great. You're a cop. You hate being a cop. You give out sandwiches to homeless people. You got a wife. You got a couple of kids. And then you went to a stock joke that everyone's told 1,000 times at every party."
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't even know there was a difference.
Yeah.
And the audience did. Like, you know what I'm saying? I felt it when I started telling this joke. Like, I got my closing laugh got like
yeah. They call them jokey jokes, right?
It was a jokey joke.
Yeah.
But I got the bug. I got the bug right away, and I still had stage fright, but I realized I used to watch a lot of remember Comedy on the Road, A&E, Caroline's Comedy Club, Improv.
Yeah.
And I used to say to myself, the only difference between me and them is getting over stage fright.
That's it.
So there must be something. And then I realized you were a cop, right? How many years?
30 years.
30 years. Okay, I did 12. And I can only equate it with that first day when you walked around with a gun and everything squeaked and you felt like a dick and everyone's looking at you. Even the first night on the job as a cop, I heard someone scream, "Officer!" And then
you look around, right?
Right, and then it took me about 10 seconds to go, holy shit, they're talking to me. They need my help, and I don't want to turn around. I don't know where 10 years later you're like, yeah, what's the problem? Let's come on. So I knew, just like anything else you do on Earth, the more you do it, the easier it would get.
Yeah.
And then I started doing the open mics. I started to hit it pretty heavy in the fall of 92. And then a very funny thing happened. For the first time ever, they were going to have New York's Funniest Cop.
Wow.
And I wanted to win.
I remembered that.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to win. It meant something. There was there was a goal. There was something to hang on to. I wasn't just an open mic comedian. I was going to be New York's Funniest Cop. And January of 93, they had the runoffs. And little did I know, you had all these runoffs on different nights, months apart, was to sell drinks to your relatives. You know what I mean? I thought it was like a legit contest, and I was working my way up, which I was. And then finally, the night of the contest, it was like March of 93. I'd been doing it, give or take 9 months. And it was set number 50. I still remember. I won New York's Funniest Cop, but it came down to John Diresta from Transit, Homeless Outreach, and Joe Badalamenti from Central Park. You know, if you know, Central Park has its own precinct. Yeah. And Joe and I have still to this day are friendly, but back then it was a good rivalry because he had been doing it way longer than me. Wow. But I cared more. Yeah. I did more sets. I tape recorded. I reviewed on the Homeless Outreach bus. I wrote down each set. Like each night at work became an adventure to come up with new jokes with the other cops. And then so Mike Royce, who wound up being a producer on Men of a Certain Age and Raymond, he was the host, and he said, okay, the votes have been tallied, and I know I had a good set. And they said for the winner of New York's Funniest Cop, first time ever in the history of New York, is Joe Diresta. So now I'm like, why the fuck is my dad New York's Funniest Cop? You know what I mean? Yeah. And the guy was mixing. You won? No, the guy was. Well, hold on, don't rush the story. Oh shit! The guy was mixing Joe Badalamenti and John Diresta. So we're both standing there going, "Fuck, who won?" And then he kind of turned the paper over, almost like a bad movie. And he goes, "Oh, Transit, John Diresta." So I won New York's Funniest Cop.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I won. Story. Yeah. So